Please. Very beautiful. Thank you. Like father, like son. Very nice. Muy bien. That's all I know. How are you?
Soy nieto de don George Washington, porque tengo mi nombre, speak Spanish.
You can say what you want.
My father's name is Washington.
Papá me puso Washington como nombre.
So it says he's the
Y aquí es
great-grandchild of George Washington.
Ya no es culpa mía porque no puede protestar a la edad que lo bautizó.
Because that's the name his father gave him, Washington.
That's very nice. That's very proud to have that name. I can see you've been a wonderful man to have such a wonderful son. La ma la jab zong jie wo san jie la jab zong jie wo jue la jab zong jie wo gen dun la jab zong jie wo la ma la jab zong jie wo san jie la jab zong jie wo jue la jab zong jie wo gen dun la jab zong jie wo la ma la jab zong jie wo san jie la jab zong jie wo jue la jab zong jie wo Gendun la jabzon jewo manam kada nyambi simjen tamje dewa dante judan dembar juji donga da donga ji judan trawa juji donga mebe dewa tambata min trawa juji nyerin chada nidan trawe danyon jimbe nganda semle du seme bara nebar juro je sanje chedan soju chonam la chanju pardu dani kyasunchi Dagi jinsu jibesunam jendro la benzer sanje drubar sho majinam ki tada nibesim jenta lana mewa kovan toba chakliya. So thank you for the wonderful song and the beautiful music. So much I appreciate. It was very nice voice. And I thank you all for taking your time out of your busy life and in such a precious life that we have, and those who have worked very hard to make this event possible. San Antonio Peace Center Pilgrimage of the Compassion events that has been, I think even just hearing that was quite a blessing. I think today's era, the only one thing is lacking is understanding of the loving kindness and compassion. Even though we speak about this loving kindness and compassion throughout the eras, how many thousands years we can encounter, 2,000, 3,000 years of age, in those history, there must be at least 5,000-6,000 world war might have taken place. And I think it's not only Tibetan Buddhism, but I think every religion teaches us about this kindness, compassion, loving kindness and compassion. And so there must be something wrong. There must be something really we are not understanding, or the true definition of this very love or this compassion, because we are just using it as a pity on somebody, or just with habit to say it just to feel better for oneself. So I really appreciate and thank you very much for San Antonio Peace Center, the pilgrimage of the compassion events that is, and I hope that it grow, and every community can able to grow loving kindness and compassion in their heart, and can able to produce such a compassionate society that we needed. So I think you might have heard a little bit about me from Kylie. Did you introduce?
Yeah, we did.
Okay. I try to come more often here, but I have so much work in India and Nepal, so I get stuck there because of the construction for the children, and then a certain remote area that I have to go and try to bring the help to them. And when I come here, I try to go to certain places where Kylie try to help those homeless people. So I have to think now where to begin with, because it looks like all of you are much more elder than me,
and quite an educated, you know, and by just seeing this man bringing his father hand to hand, that really does not need to explain too much. This is the kind of a society we are lacking today, isn't it? I think we don't have to be in stress and depressed and taking all kinds of pills to be peace and harmony. If we truly, genuinely act as according to what needs to be done. And Tibetan Buddhism, basically, if we try to understand the fundamental kind of a foundation, is to try to understand the loving kindness and compassion. And that goes up to the ultimate practice of whatever, you know, highest level of the meditation you could do, from the basic to the ultimate. So in order to understand that loving kindness and compassion, we have to go back to one's own root, where we are coming from. We meet spiritual leaders, spiritual teachers who guides us from many directions. We meet them later in our life, but it's the beginning of our life who gives. For instance, I always try to give this example to those people. We often forget where we are coming from. And throughout the historically, you know, if we, within the Tibetan Buddhism, we often, you will hear motherly beings, you know, every living beings are considered to be as a mother. Since our tradition believes that we not only cause and effect, but the cycle of life. We might have countless lifetime we might have taken, but sometimes it's difficult to comprehend those, to understand. And so beginning of my life, what my teacher taught me is, we might not able to comprehend those, but the very lifetime, this very lifetime, you being alive right now is the result of the seed of loving kindness and compassion. Please come in. And so the most example I've given is to the mother, because they are the one who sacrifice and so giving unconditionally. You know, throughout the history, if you try to look into the books of history, you may find the women likes to look the most beautiful in this era, and that's natural, isn't it? In China, if you look into the history, just to look beautiful, they squeeze their feet into iron shoes, says, and to be presentable, to be beautiful. Similar to that, if we go to India, in certain part of the Indias, there's women wearing conch shells, even looks like 2 or 3 kilos of the silver bangles, and still rubbing the, you know, cleaning all dishes and just to look beautiful, presentable. If you look at now these days, we don't really have to go everywhere. The technology, thanks to the technology, they can bring everything at your bedroom. National Geographic to Discovery, and you can see all over the world, and you can able to see those beings who lives on the other side of the planet. And you know, some of the women's, they want to, you know, that's their culture, to look presentable and beautiful, so making a very tall, long neck. No, have you seen those? And if you look at our culture as a Tibetan, you know, we have a tradition of wearing ornaments with the gold and silvers and with all kinds of turquoise and what do you call that, corals, and it almost looks like 50-60 kilos. Not able to walk, yet just to look beautiful. And of course, in America, most of the time I hear the story of, you know, the women's are not eating properly these days. They just want to look beautiful. 1 apple a day, and they're dying now. Isn't it? I heard the story like that. Just eating 1 apple a day to look beautiful. And then food disorders, all of the problems. And the day they accept to become a pregnant and agree to give us birth, they give up all the desire that they have. Entire life they wash and cream them and makeup and everything, they just give up the very next day. They give up the comfort that they have, wonderful clothes that it looks very nice, they have to give up, it won't fit anymore. So, and the delicious delicacies, lots of advices from parents to grandparents to in-laws. Nice comfortable sleep you have to sacrifice because, you know, someone else is growing in your womb. So I often used to think, oh, things like that, imagine if I am pregnant, you know, if I am pregnant and something moving in my stomach, it would be very scary. Instantly need to see the doctor. And these mothers, the day they give up all the desires that they have, from the day one, constantly sacrificing their comfort, and I often used to amaze to see that they not only, you know, sacrificing and all this sacrificing that they go through, but they so looks like enjoying it. No? Oh, it's moving here, it's kicking there, you know. And often it amazes us to see that how brave they can be. The braveness is, I realize later when I see, check, meditate, is because of their complete selflessness. From the day one they accept to give us birth, they have sacrificed themselves completely for the sake of that another being that is growing in their womb. Complete selfless. And it is not like weekdays job. No? Friday, party, I'll come back later. It's 24/7. Looks like entire year. 7 months, 8 months, 9 months, 10 months. And fortunate enough of those mothers who have been born in such a countries like yours, developed, educated, high technologies. And there are many countries out there, third world countries, so-called third world countries. Their mothers giving birth, bleed to die, and yet they sacrifice. From the day that they accept to become a pregnant to until the day they give us a birth, it's a tremendous sacrifice. Every second they give attention to that very child that is growing in the womb. And the day comes about to give a birth, 90% of the experience of the death, tremendous painful, unbearable painful. The nerves has to cut, joint have to break. They go unconscious sometime, unbearable pain that they have to go through. When they give a birth and the baby comes out and then cries, wah, wah, immediately the mother, they never reminds us of what they have gone through. The very moment they just let go of all the pain, the suffering, the sacrifice they have done, instant attention to that very baby. How am I going to make this baby stronger to be able to face? Instant attention. And they cry with that baby. Oh, isn't it? If you are not mother, you might have seen those with your sisters, your in-laws. And it is not the end of it. It is the beginning of their sacrifice. The beginning of the sacrifice until they take the last breath. And every breath is their sacrifice for us. I often tell my students in Miami or Los Angeles and any places that I go, and even the universities, it doesn't matter if you are 30 years old, 40 years old, if you have the mother and if you call them, they will say, "Did you eat? Are you happy?" Isn't it? And if you, with no reason given, you cry, they cry with you. They don't need the reason. If they see that you are not happy, they will never can be happy. They cry with you. And if you laugh and smile, and then they rejoice on that. However limited knowledge that they have, they give us. And sometimes, often we, in this era, we are kind of quite selfish. Most of the time, we get out of those such a kind and compassionate parents that we have, and we ask them, "What do you want, Mom? Give me my space. It's none of your business." Isn't it? It's like that. And then we get constant doubt. What do really they need? They want? What do they want? In a Tibetan, we say, in order for us to really repay what they have given, and even if you are like a Superman, could able to carry them on your shoulder and fly universe 3 times and take all the pilgrimages, thinking that I will repay them, still not going to be able to repay what they have given us. And if you can even buy entire Texas and to say, "This is my repay to you, Mother," he says he cannot. And so this is the doubt constantly we feel. What do they really want? What are they expecting from us? And if you look at, many occasions I find this, even though many of us we don't get a chance to talk about our life, but many occasions I realize that there are people go, "My mother wasn't like that. She was drunk and she was taking drugs and she put me in these situations and that situations, and my mother wasn't that compassionate." And often there is a complaint about those. But if you look at carefully, your existing itself right now is because of that gift, that very seed. And every one of us in this world are not perfect, and we are very limited in our wisdom and knowledge. If they know better, I say, if they know better, and they would do better. How much they knew, they did. After all, we are here. The greatest gift that they have given, the wish fulfilling jewel type of life. In Tibetan we say, wherever this space covers, there is countless beings out there, on the ground, under the ground, in the ocean, on the ocean, in space, numberless beings. And it almost looks like in this era, the way we live our life, it does not look like next life would be another human wish fulfilling jewel type of life that we have received. It's almost looks very slim, because the way we live today, we think every living being is like a delicacy now. No? Look at China, Burma, because of Cambodia, Japan, in America too. Anything that's moving, it's the next delicacy. No? Including cockroaches. Now we eat them. Nothing much left that we haven't tried. Karma is nothing but what goes around comes around. No? Karma is whatever you have put the seed, that grows. That repercussion, that consequences. Karma is quite famous these days in the West. Everybody knows karma. but karma is nothing but as actually our own action. So, such a kindness, such a loving, caring, such a compassionate, unconditional, and we get doubt of what they really want. What do they really want? There's only one single thing that I see, and I think any Buddhist teacher would say that, is our well-being and our happiness, and that's all they expect entire their life, every breath they take. Only one single expectation from us is for us to be well-being and our happiness. And so we really don't have to talk about all many lifetimes to all of those sentient beings as our parents, to be all of those things, but really to begin with one's own mother, to appreciate, to see the true seed of compassion by nature myself, and genuinely appreciating and putting oneself as what they have expected us to be, and searching for that very ultimate happiness. I think if we do that, then not only this lifetime of our parents we repay them, but all of those many lifetimes that we might have taken life, they all did the same sacrifice, same kind of expectations, and their prayer would be answered today. If we don't understand this in our own life, then think of peace and harmony in the world, trying to go out there thinking I am here to fight as a warrior for peace and harmony. It's very difficult. It's like there was a fire in California and other places, no? If we have a home there and our home is catching fire, and then we are running around trying to put off the neighbor's house a fire, it will be very funny. It will look very funny. Rather you save your own house first, and it is very interesting example. I often really bow down to those teachings of, even in a plane when you fly, they say put the oxygen mask on yourself and then you help the others who are in need. That is very true. If I cannot breathe, how can I help the other guy? And so it is a great lesson, no? Put oneself first, and then you can breathe properly. It's like not knowing how to swim and trying to save the other one who is drowning there. Both will drown. So I think it's very important to understand the one's mother first. Whether you want to be the good guy, compassionate one, or you want to be the spiritual person, or want to be very specific in one religious as a Buddhist, on that path, without understanding this basic fundamental compassion and loving kindness, is not possible. And if you do, half of the problem will vanish. If you truly, genuinely take that serious and go and bow to your mother first, and to say thank you, thank you. And if you can, wash their feet with the flower, scented. Thank them. I guarantee you half of the problem will vanish immediately. Peace has to begin within first, and then we can spread out. But if we have a problem inside and then we are trying to go out there to help everyone, it's almost not possible. And if you have a mother and you have not done this, I think you must do that first. It doesn't matter how terrible she might be, but once you genuinely show your heart and your appreciation, they will understand. And as I was saying, like, wash their feet, and it's not in our culture here. I can understand. They may say, "What are you doing? Get out! Don't touch me." That can happen, no? But you make it. You make the tradition from your genuine heart. It doesn't matter. You break that ice. They break that boundary. You break that very wall that we have created throughout our lifetime, and look at each other. Every one of us is seeking for the same happiness. No one is seeking for unhappy, unpleasant, and suffer. This era, if we do like something like this one, no, just few walks. This man walked with his father, holding his hand. 7 steps, I believe, 7 lifetime of his karma is purified right there. And I bow to such a act. I wish everyone could do that. Life is too short to plan too many things. And it's like a lightning shot. It's very short. Too short to make so many complicated things. And we are very good at that. We are very expert making it too many complicated stuff, you know, and then trying to fix that. When we say "I love you" in Tibetan, you know, and in a Western definition of true definition of "I love you," it's almost in the era, not necessarily only Westerner. I'm not saying that in the today's world. Even in Tibetan community also, when we say "I love you," it's almost like we are just talking about like, "Oh, I love you because you have very nice hair," no, outer kind of a beauty, and we just attach to that. There is no genuine of saying. It's just a habitual nature of just saying, "Oh, I love you," just because you have beautiful eyes, or because you are very nice complexions. And then one day the hair starts falling off, then what happens? "Oh, where did that nice hair go?" I love that part. In definition, in Tibetan, when we say "I love you," we are saying, "I want you to be happy." That is the true definition. I wish you to be happy. Nothing more, nothing less. However you are, I wish you to be happy. That is the true love. And I think we need to recall those, to say it again and again until we truly, genuinely wish the other person to be happy. And then we talk about compassion, as here we have event of a compassion. And then compassion is not just merely of a pity things. Today's era we use this, oh, I have a compassion on you, as a compassion. Oh, she's going through a cancer treatment, oh, I have a compassion on you. It's merely a pity stuff. No, it's not realizing we should really go back in a different terminologies of the dictionaries and find out what does really these other cultures meant when we say compassion, because it gives you so much of true understanding and to how we can live our life properly, fully. Compassion is not just simply the word of pity, but it has a great, profound wisdom in it. When we say, I am having compassion, then you are genuinely saying, I am not only wishing you to be happy, but completely I wish to eliminate you, liberate you out of this cycle of suffering. And how can I do this? And for that, I would do everything and anything for the sake of all my mother beings to liberate from the cycle of suffering. And for that, every breath that I take, so, is this San Antonio Peace Center have began this pilgrimage of compassion event for how many years?
A year and a half.
Year and a half. Ah, so wonderful. So wonderful. I think this is the most needed one today's world. And so that's very wonderful. So, as I was talking about how many countless living beings on this planet with us, numberless, science still trying to count the numbers, it cannot. It's almost impossible. Different species every day they are discovering. On this planet, very neighbor of all the animals realms, living with the suffering nature of fear, eating each other from smaller to the bigger, and that goes on in the ocean from the size of the tip of needles to the huge whale, eating each other. And with this, within our society, and that's why I say it is almost looks like, when we go to the market, what is there in what you call as a grocery market? You find all these foods. Supermarkets, the big supermarkets, and nice packed it, meats around. We don't think of as this has been butchered somewhere yesterday, died, traumatized with the fear. We just think this is another food. We have no feeling towards that beings. When we say peace, compassion, loving kindness and compassion, we are not only talking about only for human beings, as our brotherhood and sisterhood, no, but throughout the world, towards every living beings. And so it becomes a very important and become very important subject, how we deal with all of those beings who lived with us. And the funny part is in such developed countries you don't see those slaughtering houses, because it's somewhere else, and they bring it with a nice package and then we think it's a food. If you go to India and Nepal and many of those countries, they butcher right on the street, and you can see how animals look at each other, and there are some animals crying, tears, screaming in because of the unfortunate kind of life that they have, trapped, suffering from the dumbness, with the fear, have no voice, no one can understand. Countless at this very moment, somewhere out there must be butchering. Do we hear them? No. If you look for it, we will find it somewhere. It's happening. If we care about it with a kindness, and again, kindness is something which we really sometimes don't understand much. The kindness. And then the faith is another thing. Faith and devotions. This is a true subject that often we find in all the religious and all the spiritual path. Without these two is almost like not possible. But yet we really have no understanding towards that. And if we understand properly, then I think we will stop doing what we are doing. I think there will be a big full stop for ourselves, and to look back and think and taking it very serious. Loving kindness and compassion is such a profound and so important in our life. Without this, is almost life is worthless. And in order for us to be born as a human being, to make it as a worth being born as a human being, I think we need to look within oneself. Begin with oneself, that how we are trapped in such a form of life, and how did I fall? Where did I come from? What am I doing now? How much is entire history, if you dig down on the history books, what they have accomplished in their life, and what can I achieve? Sometime when we find is a beautiful, nice Tibetan thangkas, painted, and then we come around and such a peaceful people around, and immediately we feel this instant rouse of the pure faith, that is naturally comes out in such a pureness in this area. Wow. And then the second part comes, oh, what is this man doing? And what is that? What is this? Who is that? All kinds of doubt. And then finding out that there is a way out. Not only way out, but there is this called enlightened beings have crossed this journey and completely awakened. Oh, this longing faith arises again. The second part is longing faith. I wish I can be on that other side of the shower. And then you get to have all these doubts. Again, who's going to take me there? Who's going to guide me there? Or whether genuine kind of a person. I often think of myself as I am really sometimes very fearful of flying. I don't like flying. I wish I can fly myself. And so therefore I've always thought, oh, is these pilots are really qualified? Did they really qualified on all of those? Who investigate those? Are they drunk? All kinds of doubts. And similar to that, I think these are the to clarify when we talk about the faith. And complete faith arises. That is the first aspect of the devotion arises. No doubt, complete. And the second part is the kindness. Kindness of this very part that we've spoken about, loving, caring and compassion from one's own parents, and how much limited they have the knowledge and wisdom they provide us, how to walk, how to speak, how to face the world, and the limited of a knowledge. They teach us how to face this world, however they know. And then we meet some spiritual guide for me as my teacher. His Holiness Penda Rinpoche. Ever heard of Penda Rinpoche? Not many. Sometimes I go around and I think, oh, my Lama must be known throughout the world because he's my hero. So for me, he's everything. So I think, oh, sometimes I forget. If I have not met my Lama, my teacher, then I would be a loss in this world. Because my parents were very limited knowledge that they had. They provide everything for me. Such a wonderful life with whatever they can possibly provide me. And then meeting with this Lama who takes me beyond not only this lifetime, but many lifetimes to come, that I would not put in jeopardy. I could be killed in a gun and bombs and nuclears. But I will reborn again. But if I do a non-virtues, killing, stealing, lying, all those negative actions, that could jeopardize many of lifetime to come for me. And so he saved me from those negative actions. Such a kindness from my parents, gratitude to their life that they have provided me, and then to my great teachers who have guided me to not only this lifetime, to not to put jeopardy of a many lifetime to come, and to every day, every breath that I take to practice mindful of compassion. Such a kindness and compassion. And so to understand that kind of a kindness is a really second kind of aspect of the devotions. And then the third one of the devotion that arises is only through the pure perceptions, how you take it. And so literally everything is in your hand. To really bring the change in oneself and out there. We often, I always seen, oh, let's have a peace, and then there is, what do you call this bird? The kharsa. A dove. No?
White dove.
No, white dove is a symbol of peace. No, we catch them whether he like it or not. Peace. And then it looks like sometimes they fall, can't fly anymore because they were trapped for so many hours. I think peace has to work within oneself and then spread to the others. You will not find one Buddhist community waiting, looking at the sky and putting hand out saying, please give it to me. Truly, you will not find one Buddhist doing that. Not in our community. Because we know that there is nothing out there. If there is, then there is stars and galaxy, that is also we consider to be delusion, illusion. And there are sometimes entire your life wait like that in the sky, there are chances to fall things on your hand. There are those eagle and crows flying, their kakapupu may fall. But otherwise there is nothing out there. So with this kind of attitude, with this kind of a mind, with a full of compassion, genuinely, first think of oneself, how am I doing in my life? Not just wonder, not just go around with whatever I think of and just chase that, you know. And you can see there are many richest of the richest man is still running, still chasing. I often find many of my students, they have this, oh Rinpoche, I have the best car now, 10 blinking lights and blinking, and then next day their friends calls them and says, you know, before even the service time comes, hey, there's a new car blinking 50 lights in. they still again behind that. It's a never ending story. And end of the day, are we truly happy? It's just a temporary kind of, you know, maybe 2 days, hi, and then after 2 days, of course, someone calls up like that, and then we lose our interest. We need the other 50 light blinking inside, you know, and we never stop chasing those. And the true kind of happiness is truly, it really does not cost at all. It's completely free. And if we do that constantly, more and more, that joy and happiness lasts far more than those televisions, motor car, to the big house, to all of those material. I know you must have heard this hundreds of times, but I think if you look at deeper, because of the project I have to run like this, otherwise I really don't like to run at all. I wish I can be in my cave and meditate. I used to think 30 years is very old age, you know. I used to think when I was young, I said 30 years, then I'm in retreat, that's it. But now I'll cross 40. I'm still running because of the responsible. There's nothing I can do about it, but at least something that is bringing change in a community and for many generations to come, that they all can be educated. So I feel like this is also worth of doing it. I think there's a very nice story I heard from my Lama, saying, you know, there used to be one wonderful yogi who lived in a cave in Tibet, very compassionate, practicing, meditating many years in the cave. And he had a wonderful student who was a very young boy, always used to, you know, cook for him, make him teas and food, and do as a seva, as a service, assisting his teacher. And every week he had to send down the monk, young monk, down to the valley to buy certain market, foods. And every day he goes, every weekend he goes down there to get all the foods and stuff. But one day he sees a beautiful girl in the market, and then he sees his girl and he goes like, hi, hi, and then hi, bye. And the next weekend he sees again, and not only hi, bye, but now he's just like smiling. Hey. Every other week they are getting closer and they're talking more and more. And the yogi who up there in the retreat, he really don't have to go down to see him, but he can really, through meditation, he can able to see what he is getting into now. So one day he says, he calls up the magician in the town. Tibet is a, believe it or not, from my vision, Tibet was like a magical country, unbelievably very rich in culture and traditions and educational part. I think you can learn the worst of the worst of all the black magic to complete enlightenment. So he called up the very powerful magician up, and he said, I'm going to send my students to you, and please you show him a glimpse of his life. And he said, okay. Then the magician left back to his town, and the student came back, the young monk, and he said, I would like you to go down there to borrow, chasa, which is like the special tea maker, because in a cave you don't keep those, no. So because I like to have a special tea, and which is Tibetan specialty is what? You put butter, milk, salt, and it's very thick. I think in the high altitude you only can digest those, not in the lower altitude. So the monk comes at the door of the magician. He didn't know whose house it was knocking at the door, and then he says, I'm here, I was sent by this yogi. And the magician says, oh, you are the boy, come in. Then he got in, let him sit, and he pours the tea in his cup. And such altitude in certain part of the Tibet is, it says some places, I don't know whether you believe it or not, but when you pour certain water on the ground, before it drops, it becomes freezes, like a frozen. I don't know how much up to that's true, but sometime we heard when we were very young, says when you urinate the urine gets frozen before it just get into the floor. But that climate is in such a way that when you pour a tea in your cup, you have to immediately start drinking, otherwise the steam vanishes, the warmness vanishes right away. And so when he poured the tea, and then he just puts him in sleep, in the magic. And the boy, he was certainly in a middle of desert, like a Sahara desert, no? Is that a Sahara desert is the biggest desert in the planet? Is it something like that? And if you are in middle of Sahara desert, and you are lost. And he was feeling like he has been there forever, and he's trying to find the way out. And he's trying to find a way out, looking, seeking every directions, and somehow he's trying to walk in one direction, thinking that I will find some way out there, the end of this. Days, weeks, months, and years he's walking. And he feels like, now I'm going to die. I don't see any way out. And finally, when he was almost falling apart, he sees there is one small tree branch with a little tent, and there is a movement of a human. Oh, he sees that and he goes like, wow, now I find someone. And then he yells at them and shouting, and you know, and then he goes walk and walk and walk. And finally he reaches there and he sees that there is one old man and one old lady and very nice beautiful daughter. And he sees that and he goes, wow, I finally found someone. Can I have a water please? I'm dry my throat and I'm dying. And so the daughter brings the cup, a small tiny cup, and he was thinking if she will pour the water, no, to drink, and he goes like this. She drops one drop of water. Tick. She says, it didn't rain for the last 7 years, so you lick that please. We have to save the rest for ourselves. So he licks. And he fulfills with this lick for a few seconds, few minutes, and then he asked the old man, you might know where is the way out from this place. I have to go out of this. I'm so tired of looking way out. And the old man says, you know, you must stay back, otherwise you will also die trying to look for it. And so with that advice he settled down with them, and months and years the old lady, the mother, dies. Of course nothing out there, so they have to live on that body as a cannibalism. And then one day the father about to die, and he says, now put the hand together with the daughters and that man for him, and says, you have to look after each other. After I go, you're the only two people who have to take care of each other. And so they got married, and so now they have to live on father's body. And then year after year there is a baby being born. One being born here, the other one is dying, starving. And after a few moments he looked at himself and thinking, how did I end up here? What made me end up here? He was crying to himself, sad. When he had this feeling, the magician broke the magic right there. And he wakes up and he goes, that was a dream? And then he sees the cup, you know, they pour the tea, steam is still up. Within a few seconds he has shown the life that is going to take place. Immediately he understands why his Lama sent him down there. He runs back to see his Lama and says, forgive me. The reason what I am saying this is because our life is like that right now. We have no idea which direction we are going, but we are going somewhere. The good news is we are not giving up, isn't it? We never will give up. It doesn't matter whether the television brings us the happiness of temporary for a few minutes, but after that we will look for another thing, no? Bigger TV, bigger screen, but we never give up trying to find the ultimate happiness. So we don't have to be depressed, too depressed, saying world is in such a misery. Nobody is out there. For instance, in the traffic, you know, 4 direction of traffic, everyone is going this way to that way, but they are all looking for some happiness, trying to find that. And it will be so silly for me to go out there and say, you are in the wrong direction. No? When they are in the right direction, they are. We will never give up looking for that happiness. So that's a good news, I guess. It may take a longer time, many lifetime. And as a being gathered here as a spiritual person, on the spiritual path we are, as we call ourselves as a spiritual person, then it becomes much more serious and much more of a kind of a serious, because we don't want to lose, as think of as next life to the next life, but very this lifetime if we can make a difference. And for that we really need to go back to our home. And to talk to one's own parents. Begin compassion, loving kindness from there. It doesn't matter how cruel they have been to themselves, how limited knowledge they are having. You can heal it, you can make it. So I think peace and compassion, loving kindness, all of these can increase can be produced the peace and harmony in the neighborhood, in the families, if we look at genuinely to each other and we are all seeking for the same happiness. No one is out there seeking for unhappy, suffer, trapped. And so furthermore, we should have loving, caring, so in order to increase the loving kindness and compassion in a day-to-day life, I always suggest to do a Tongling meditations. And would you like to do that? Tongling is taking and releasing. The Tongling is one of the really simplest and the most powerful meditation that we could all do to increase loving kindness and compassion that every breath that we take. And it says that every healthy healthy person will take 27,000 breath in and out, every day, a healthy person. But in those 27,000 time of a breath in and out, we don't really value one breath out of those. We really are very concerned on, I don't see properly, to my arm hurts, to my leg is not good, to all of the organs that we care much. But truly, if we stop breathing, then it's called dead. No, isn't it? Then it's all over. We can live with without leg and hands and blind, but when we stop breathing, then it's over. So the very breath in Tibetan we say, we ride the wind of a horse and channel throughout our veins, and so there is a feeling throughout our body. So breath is essential. And so in order to be alive and complete mindful, I think the exercise of the breathing and to really genuinely trying to take all of the sufferings out there, inhale and take it within oneself and mix it with one's own kind of suffering and pain and sickness, and then exhale and visualizing in the space, it just disappear. We'll do that 3 breathing exercise today. Okay? Don't think of us, I'm someone who is really trying to be like a bossy around, with someone who is trying to act like he knows. I'm also doing this practice every day. It's very useful. So I share with you all. The second last finger, trying to press this down, and then use it as a gesture of as you are pressing down something. What you are pressing down, like this, what you are pressing down is all the anger, hatred, jealousy, all of the things that creates lots of problems, and only positive, kind, compassion, loving, caring, all of those arises. And visualize that very heart, we think all the goodness arises the same place, it's all the positive, negatives also arises in the same place. The second last finger which we try to press here is, you guys know better in the West country, because everybody will wear the ring here, no? And many of you might know that these nerves, we believe that it goes to heart, and that's why you guys wear the ring here, saying my heart is your heart, your heart is my heart, and then they put the ring, engaged and marry, and then when they get upset, they can take your heart away. The problem is sometimes when you tattoo on it, then it's a trouble, furthermore troubles. Can't take it out now. But anyway, this second last finger, nerves, goes to the heart, and we feel that heart is the place where all the positive or the negative all arises in the same place. So visualizing that we will press down all the negativities, negative thoughts, and only positive, loving kindness and compassion. So when we inhale the breath today, visualize the entire living beings out there with suffering from all kinds of diseases, all kinds of anger, hatred, jealousy, all kinds of sufferings out there. We will use our nose as like a vacuum cleaning, suck everything in, all their sickness. Visualize that nothing left out there. And so don't worry. Again, maybe we think like, oh, I already have so much problem. How can I inhale all of those sickness? Now I will be in more trouble. Don't think like that, okay? Think of as if I genuinely I wish I can do this to eliminate everybody's suffering. So visualize like that, and the first breath, when we inhale, take everything, whatever left over in the second term, third term, tiny beanie things left over, visualize, and then when we exhale, each time visualize that my body is becoming like more and more crystal clear, completely empty and clear, nothing left. Okay, you do that. Breathe inside, inhale, we'll take the second one. Take the third one. Now we will remove our hand and put right on the left. When you do this practice, don't think of truly as, oh, if I take all of those sufferings, those who are in hospital right now in San Antonio, Austin, Houston, all of those places, Dallas, how many hospitals might be out there? Thousands of people in death row with the sickness and diseases, suffering from fear. How many slaughterhouses out there? How many are about to be killed with the trauma? All of the sufferings with the diseases and everything, taking, inhaling. Never think that, oh, I will be in more trouble. With a full of kindness and compassion. If really truly if you can take it, then that is the greatest news for Texas. No, only Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and enlightened beings can do that. And that if we can really inhale something and be able to really take it, the other's suffering, wow, we have found another Buddha. That is the greatest news for Texas. So don't think like that, that I will be in trouble. So visualize genuinely, you'll be able to do so. And once you do that, exhale. When you exhale, visualize your, when you breathe out, visualize that your stomach is almost like a wave to the mountain, no? Like whew, empty it completely, nothing left. Now, when you put hand together as a gesture of the position, the quality of the Buddhas, there are many qualities, and I wish that we all achieve those qualities. No? This elbow, don't be like this, just straight a little bit, like a little eagle ready to fly. Your backbone as straight as arrow. Your chin, look down a little bit, don't bend down. Your eyes don't close, don't open wide open. Look at the tip of your nose with a full of compassionate look towards all those sentient beings whom you have taken negativities. Now visualize in front of you a spark of light, and that very spark of light transform incredibly image of the Buddha, not like a statue, not like a metal, not like a painting. The image as it is like a rainbow that you can see through it, but so vivid. From his forehead to your forehead, visualize shooting a very sharp light and filling up the nectar from your toe to your body, completely filling up. And visualize that your body completely fill up with all this nectar, and we have countless pores throughout our body that usually we sweat. Visualize that those are all opening like a flower, countless flowers throughout my body, transforming into flowers and shooting a spark light towards all of those living beings whom you have taken all the negativities. Now you are shooting the compassionate light that each one of those beings hits the light, they all completely awaken. Visualize that they all are doing the same as oneself, to benefiting one another. And visualize that how fortunate I am to being born as human being. I must have done something incredibly great merit that I might have earned in the last life to achieve such a qualities of life, and to be able to do such a compassionate activities. I am so fortunate, and rejoice and visualize that all the God and Goddess, whoever you believe, an angel, whatever you believe, all of the positive, those who supports the positiveness, are enjoying, rejoicing, and visualize that they throwing the rains of flowers, and no one is left behind without touching from your compassionate. Now visualize that all the pores that are transformed into flower dissolve back to your body, and the light, that image of Buddhas that shoots at you, to dissolve back into that statue, that image, and then that image dissolve by itself in this space, in this very light that you made it appear. Visualize that spark of light dissolve by itself in the space, and try to stay in that stage for a few seconds, please. Okay. And so it will be very nice every morning. You might have your one way of starting your day, but if you can add this just as soon as you wake up, you know, like I slept like a dead. I woke up now. What more miracle I need to see than this? Another day, another life. How fortunate I am. Now make it a better day with a full of kindness and compassion. Breathe, exercise. And then throughout the day you will not get upset with anyone. While you're driving, while you do work, it doesn't matter what kind of profession you are in. Even the mechanic who fixes the air condition can practice every now and then with a full of compassion with his job. It is all depend on one's own motivation, intention. Any profession. So, since I thought I would really not only share some of my thoughts and my practices, but I thought I would do a little bit of blessings and ceremonies, so that from this day on you accomplish all the good wishes that you have in your heart for the well-being of all the mother beings. So I do a little ceremony for you all, and then we will finish that way. Okay? You will like that? Oh yeah. I might need Kylie here, please. My cowboy student. Now he carries the weapon of compassion and loving kindness, not gun. You know, when I was very young, my Lama came back one day to the monastery and he brought this movie called Good, Bad and Ugly. Truly, I thought the West is very wild. I thought, you know, I would never pray to reborn in such place. They talk less and shoot more. I thought like that when I was little. You know, have you seen that movie? Oh. Then they pull out everything, you know. Oh, we were very young, 8, 9, we were. That is barbaric. So here I am in that same country and seeing and meeting with all the wonderful people. Very unique, deep down, very compassionate. That is our nature. It doesn't matter who that person is. If you see it, you know, it's for American, not for all the American, but in general, kind of what you call as a for American, not culture, the war that happened, no? Saddam Hussein to Osama bin Laden, considered to be the biggest enemy and threat, and whatever he was like labeled as if he was the evilest one. It doesn't matter. But even though if you ask that very person, would you like to be limited? He would say no. I'm looking for freedom and peace and ultimately liberation. So that's why we have all the pockets of everywhere, group of guerrilla liberators, FBI liberators, CIA liberators, all kinds of liberators. It is in human nature, because we are naturally born as a liberator. So it is within our nature. There is no one single beings out there not looking for that. So we need to have furthermore not only just sympathy, but truly, genuinely have compassion to each other, because we are all in the same stage, no different. You pinch here, you pinch there, same. Not even size of a hair is different. So therefore, I am honored and privileged to be here with you, and today breathing with you, and to be able to accumulate such merit in such place for the well-being of all sentient beings. And so I pray that all, not only myself, but all my lamas and lineage of those lamas up to Buddha, I pray that you all receive the blessing of protection from all the obstacles on your path, and to you accomplish all the good wishes that you have in your life. Guru Pema Sede on Genesis of Pema Gazadomolam, the Chumodi, Magnichis, Chizilla Shizon Guru Pema Sede, Hon, Genesis of Magazadomolam, the Chumodi, Magnichis, the Kurukanamo, Chizar, Guru Pema Sede, Hon, Nature, the Chimbal and Rujada, one you gather on the Pachuan, Tumong Dutsa, so Manam, Katanyam, Simjin, Tamji, Dewat, and the Vigid and the Burju, Dunga, Dunga, Judan Tawaji. Dunga maybe dewa tamba the minda was in Yerichada in the Dravitanu chipping on the same red with Semebara never Jurje Namo Sanje Kunjo Kadan, Chukunjo Kadan. Gundin Kunjo Kadan, Lama Tamban Jukadan, Ethan Lazun, Jukadan, Kanajan, Jukadan, Manava George, Pagina, Georgian down to win them to George, Oman, Peme Honre, Pay, Oman, Peme Honre, Pay, Oman, Peme Honre, Pay.
onyenje gedan londen so ngani paljin tamri ko ngai kalanda ma chini de mi de chide mi du jin pa jitam de turun sanjara cha ju ge chu lu ngai san de thin chu la bar ju the na om she ben da do hain do om sumane girana ba om sumane girana ba hom ba sumane girana ba hom pe. And please visualize that when this mala puts on your head, independently, separately, our body accumulates knowingly, unknowingly, so many negativities, killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, to all kinds of negativities. From the mind is such a, intentions behind all of negative intentions, to similar to that, from the speech, gossiping, to lying, to harsh speaking, to all of the negativities from the 3 doors we accumulate most of the time, from throughout many lifetimes to up to now. Visualize that completely in and out are all purifying, washing out, as when this mala puts on your head. Please. Om ahu, om ahu, om ahu, om ahu. No, you go put that in their heads, please. Come down. Om ahu. Don't hit like that. Om ahu, om ahu, om ahu, om ahu. Yeah, just put it in your hand. Om ahu, om ahu. Please have seat. Om ahu, om ahu. Om ahu, om ahu, om ahu. Oh yeah. Om ahu, om ahu, om ahu, om ahu. Om ahu, om ahu, om ahu, om ahu. Om ahu, om ahu. I think om ahu, the syllable om ahu, we might not have seen. Om is very common, we all might have seen om, but there is a ah and then hum. Visualize this, the symbolize of the pureness of om as the embodiment of the Buddhas, ah as the wisdom, the dharma, from redness of ah, hum as a bluish of the ultimate nature, of true nature. So visualize that. You can chant with me. Om ahum, 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 me ahum, om 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 ahum,
So please visualize that not only this very Lama, in Tibetan culture or the Tibetan Buddhism, there is no such thing as coincident. No, coincidence does not exist. Everything has a reason and purpose in our life. So somehow I have to be here. So there must be a reason that I have to be here, and you all have to meet here. There must be some karma that we have to meet here and be here together and pray together for everyone. So visualize as this one particularly Lama have come here just for me, with all his lineage of Buddhas up to now, all assembly with him today. And when he pray and put this Vajra, a symbol of a diamond, indestructible, double Vajra, chain to one another, visualize that, putting like a, look in ancient, what do you call the warrior, they wear a metal cloth to protect himself. No? Huh? Armor. Is that an armor? Helmet and armor, something like that, made out of diamond, indestructible, something that he is putting on you. So none of the rest in the future, none of the obstacles can affect you anymore. So visualize. It's very important. I might read my part, I might do all my part, but if you don't participate, then no use. So your mind is very powerful. So you use your part, okay? Visualize that. Namo Tinjin Zawadan Juperju Padalama Tamane Jinjil, Kaji, Lamane Jinjil, Junang, Lamane Jinjil, Yanda Tinjil, Lamane Jinjil, Javagunji, Lamane Jinjil, Lamane Jinjil, Kazani Lamane Jinjil, Tejamalan Lamane Jinjil, Chejibalamane Jinjil, Jibalamane Jinjil, Chejibalamane Jinjil, Marijibalamane Jinjil, Chejibalamane Jinjil, Chudujibalamane Jinjil, Jibalamane Jinjil, Jilamane Jinjil, then Chejilazana Jinjil, Jibijilazana Jinjil, Najibilazana Jinjil, Najilamijilazana Jinjil. Sanji the Bajin, the Jubilazun, Mahi Uglazun, Lungani Uglazun, Zopachum, Adi Uglazun, Zubandu, Lazun, Pamela Chimitzil, and Jilajan, Jamakulas, Bemasungula, and the Tujilan, Chinjo and the Jilazun, Poatin, Jilazun, Mom, Bedu, Jilazun, Lobin, Penjilazun, Dundu Trilazun, put the Josmus and Lidinians, and there's a Padu and turn the woman's own song, she nailed on January 12, you begin Hamjad, same measure, but Dojo, Meju, you don't mean about Jazin, or Chiwame, but saying what the Tobachin love she bends our Dana Zaraja. Shri Benzardana Mazar Raja Raja Home Base Shri Benzardana Mazar Raja Raja Home Base Shri Benzardana Mazar Raja Raja Home Base so hard Shri Benzardana Mazar Raja Home Base Raja Raja Home do it a little faster. Shri Benzardana Mazar Raja Raja Home Base 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 so Shri Benzardana Mazar Raja Raja Home Base Shri Benzardana Mazar Raja Raja Home Base Shri Benzardana Mazar Raja Raja Home Base Shri Benzardana Mazar Raja Shri Benzardana Home Shri Benzardana Mazar Raja Raja Home Base 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 Shri Benzar Dhan Mizar Raja Rajam Beso Rebezar Dhanam Mizar Raja Rajam Beso Rebezar Dhanam Mizar Raja Rajam Beso Rebezar Dhanam Mizar Raja Shri Benzar Dhanam Mizar Raja Rajam Beso Hari Benzar Dhanam Mizar Raja Rajam Beso Hari Benzar Dhanam Mizar Raja Rajam Beso Shri Benzar Dhanam Mizar Raja Rajam Beso Rebezar Dhanam Mizar Raja Rajam Shri Benzar Dhanam Mizar Raja Rajam Beso Ha Shri Benzar Dhanam Mizar Raja Rajam Beso 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 Shri Benzar Dhanam Mizar Raja Rajam Shri Benzar to the hand all on Mizar Raja Rajam Beso Shri Benzar Dhanam Mizar Rajam Shri Benzar Dhanam Mizar Raja Rajam Beso Shri Benzar Dhanam Mizar Raja Rajam Beso Shri Benzar to the hand all on Mizar Raja Rajam Beso Shri Benzar Dhanam Mizar Raja Rajam Shri Benzar to the hand all on Mizar Raja Rajam Beso Shri Benzar Dhanam Mizar Raja Shri Benzar to the hand all on Mizar Raja Rajam Beso Shri Benzar Dhanam Mizar Raja Om Zaglis 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 Shri Benzar Dhanam Mizar Raja Raja Om Beso Zaglis Om Benzan Group Masjid Om Benzar Group Om Benzar Group Om Benzar Group Om Benzan Group Masjid Om Benzar Group Masjid Om Benzar Group Om Benzar Group Om Benzar Group Masjid Om Benzar Group Om Benzar Group Om Benzar Group Om Man Om Man Om Benzar Group Benzar Group Change up do to change you sim you stand you one you top show try to turn to something you share this with everyone each one give it everyone Shri Benzar to the hand all on Mizar Raja Raja Om Beso Shri Benzar to the Nam Mizar Raja Raja Om Beso Shri Benzar to the hand all on Mizar Raja Raja Om Beso Shri Benzar to the Nam Mizar Raja Raja Om Beso Shri Benzar to the hand all on Mizar Raja Raja Om Beso Shri Benzar to the hand all on Mizar Raja Raja Om Beso Shri Benzar to the hand all on Mizar Raja Raja Om Beso Shri Benzar to the hand all on Mizar Raja Raja Om Beso Shri Benzar to the hand all on Mizar Raja Raja Om Beso Raja Raja Om Beso Shri Benzar to the hand all on Mizar Raja Raja Om Beso Raja Raja Om Beso Shri Benzar to the Mizar Raja Raja Om Beso Raja Raja Om Beso Shri Benzar to the hand all on Mizar Raja Raja Om Beso Shri Benzar to the Mizar Raja Raja Om Beso Shri Benzar to the Mizar Raja Raja Om Beso Shri Benzar to the Mizar Raja Om Beso Shri Benzar to the Mizar Raja Raja Om Beso Shri Benzar to the Mizar Raja Raja Om Beso Shri Benzar to the Mizar Raja Raja Om Beso Shri Benzar to the Mizar Raja Raja Om Beso Shri Benzar to the hand all Benzar Raja Raja Om Beso Ha Yawase Jidem Bichilabda Demba Mawanam Jidin Sigen Rowan the Dag Sungi Dila Sujanaba Message Om Benzar Raja Raja Om Beso Ha Javase Jidem Bichilabda Demba Mawanam Jidin Sigen Rowan the Dag Sungi Dila Sujanaba Message Om Benzar Raja Raja Om Beso Yavase Jidem Bichilabda Demba Mawanam Jidin Sigen Rowan the Dag Sungi Dila Sujanaba Message Om Benzar Raja Raja Om Beso Ha The Darandra Bajamai Grand Jazzy Demazani the James Madan the Jila the Sonia Zimata Jimmy but the Jim Dovji de Dejan don't over George Yavante anything done Tom Din to in the draws in the chicken money. Tom Jete is a language show. What you got here is you can wear it on your neck if you wish, and you can if you don't like to wear it, then you can carry it in your purse, and you can wrap on your hand, however you want to do. This is a protection code with all my prayer, and it's a bulletproof. I'm just kidding, don't try. It may not work. And there is a small announcement to do also. Sunday, the June 8th, 2014. at around 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. there is a grand opening ceremony of the meditation center in San Antonio, Texas, from our YTDR organization. So please, there is one more. And so please, if you can join on that day, would be very nice. We were trying to set up a Dharma center here for many years, but our effort always really goes for the homeless people. And the person who is representing me here is Kylie John Clark. And we have a board member here as Jerry Gonzalez. And numbers of people here who are always devoted and committed. And if you wish to be part of these organizations, our organization is not just only trying to setting up the Dharma centers, but we are working very hard to bring the medical help to the refugee camps in India and part of the remote area in places called Mustang, Arunachal Pradesh, all of those places. And hopefully in the future, near future, go back to Tibet and rebuild all those monasteries. And also, if you don't want to be part of it, but you just want to participate, you can always welcome. And maybe that day you all can pray together to be able to spread the compassion and loving kindness throughout the world. And so, I would like to as we have wished and prayed with such a motivation and intention, we pray together to dedicate our merit that we have accumulated today. It's our human nature. If we dedicate those merit right away, then we have a habitual nature of getting anger, and right very next moment we destroy them. And so it says that we don't really need a big anger to destroy all the goodness, the virtue, the merit that we have accumulated. Or a spark of anger, it's like a fire that falls into, the jungle. It just catches fire everywhere. So the spark of anger is good enough to destroy all the goodness. So it is before we destroy those, we dedicate to all those sentient beings out there with selflessly. And so it is like you work hard and you try to put some saving in fixed deposit. No, it only increases. Similar to that, we dedicate merit. It increases. It never decreases. De nyordo da kunjo sumbo drubjurne drowa chikjang mali te salang go parsho. So this is like a complete, no? From the one beginning, intention to benefit others, the end, you dedicate all your merit for them. Then it's really, truly completes the prayer and meditation. So I really appreciate and thank you very much for coming and sharing your time with me. And hopefully we will prevail the peace and harmony in this world, and we bring up the compassionate society in the future. Yes, please.
No, so as Rinpoche said, next Sunday at 3:30, the meditation group is going to meet to discuss opening the meditation center in San Antonio. Sunday right here at 3:30. And maybe if y'all want to stick around, Jay Lynn can play a couple more songs. We have a donation table. My wife will be working the table. If you want to find out more about MainPad and the Children's Monastery and all the beneficial things that Rinpoche is working on right now, be sure to join, visit the table. And I think Rinpoche is going to stick around a little bit. Maybe you can introduce yourself to him. And so that concludes the services. If you just want to hang out, and like I said, please, there's literature and everything over at that table. Thank you.
That's a real Texas guy.